I love asking this question at high schools, and you guys have an amazing, amazing education here at Valley Christian, so I think you'll probably get this right. You'll be surprised what other schools have to say. But if you had to describe what the Founding Fathers looked like in 1776 when they signed the Declaration of Independence, what would you say? Shout it out. Old? There's two other words that usually come to mind. Old, white. Anybody want to guess? Men. Old white men, like geriatric, decrepit, sagging at the seams old white men who didn't even know their own name because they were so old. They couldn't possibly have written documentation to build the country that stood the test of time, let alone was applicable to their own time, right? And I think we get that imagery from the pictures and illustrations in our U.S. history textbooks. If you've been to Washington, D.C., all of the marble statues that you'll see all over our nation's capital, or famous paintings of George Washington crossing the Delaware, right? We see this image of out of touch, elderly, culturally unaware, old white men who built America, and therefore it is bad. Therefore our country is evil. Therefore we are all racist. Therefore, we are all horrible bigots, and our country doesn't deserve to exist in the 2020s and beyond. I mean, how often do we hear this on social media, if your parents have TV news on in the background, and sadly, far too often in our own education system, which many of you will likely experience in college. But the crazy thing about it is this. On July 4th, 1776, our founding fathers, who created the flag, let alone stood for the flag, who built a society that was predicated on the idea that there is something bigger than ourselves, that there is a truth and a goodness and a moral code. They did not look like our current representation in the United States government. It's crazy to me, by the way, that we say our country was founded by all of these evil, racist, old white people, and that's so terrible about the founding of our country, but we're good now. This is the image that our country was built upon. How many of you are 18? 17, 18. A couple 18-year-olds. On July 4th, 1776, James Monroe was 18. 18 years old. Aaron Burr was 20. John Marshall was 20. Before becoming the headline star of a smash hit Broadway musical that is one of my all-time favorites, Alexander Hamilton was only 21 years old on July 4th, 1776. Betsy Ross, who made the first flag, was only 24. James Madison was 25. And Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence and is credited as being maybe the largest contributor to our nation's founding documents at large, was 33 years old on July 4th, 1776. That's the foundation of our country. It's young, radically countercultural, punk rock patriots who were willing to stand up and speak truth to power, who were willing to get up and use whatever capacity that they could every day to tell the truth to those far older than themselves who had abused power for far too long, knowing that it wasn't just about them, it was about everyone who was going to come after them too. And now, in 2024, I really like how Vivek Ramaswamy, who was previously running for president, what has to say about this. We're in a bit of a 1776 moment again in 2024. All that craziness that we previously talked about is getting crazier and crazier. And it requires all of our active participation to get up and tell the truth in whatever way that looks like, and to simply live our lives radically countercultural to the insane authoritarianism and atheism that is governing our society today, by daring to fall in love and get married, by eating real food instead of crap grown in a laboratory, and just believing in objective reality again.